For over a century, Selhurst Park has stood at the heart of Crystal Palace Football Club. Its tight terraces and raucous atmosphere have both been a blessing and a curse, embodying the club's spirited underdog status while also symbolising its limitations. But now, as cranes rise over South London, a new chapter in Palace's history is being written. The ambitious redevelopment of Selhurst Park represents more than just an expansion of seats and facilities. For many, it signals a potential turning point for the Eagles' fortune. Join us as we celebrate a century of memories and look ahead to the future of this iconic stadium. Through the eyes of supporters and residents, we'll uncover what Selhurst Park means to Crystal Palace and how its evolution may shape the club's next 100 years.
Well, I was actually born at 161 Holmesdale Road, literally, wow. And it's 75 metres. I've measured it from the front bedroom of 161 Holmesdale Road to the back gate of Holmesdale Road.
It has nearly been about 13 years since I first went to my Palace game.
The first game I went to was Palace Hull City here at Selhurst Park. I actually sat right here in the half-weight stand in the standing up section.
I'm actually about to celebrate my 50th year as a Palace fan. I first came here in 1976, home game against Stoke City.
The best game here at Selhurst, without a shadow of a doubt for me, was 1979. It was a May evening on a Friday night. We had to play Burnley, we had to beat them to go up. We won the game 2-0. It was absolutely buzzing. It was 51,500, just an unbelievable atmosphere.
For Crystal Palace fans, Selhurst Park is more than just a football ground. It's a second home where generations have shared the rollercoaster of emotions that have come with supporting the Eagles.
Oh, Selhurst Park, I mean, for good and bad reasons, there have been many memories.
It's all about the history, really, at Selhurst Park.
We're obviously within just a mile or so of where the Crystal Palace exhibition was, which obviously sadly burnt down, but that's of course where our name come from, being the Glaziers.
It's crazy just to see your club last 100 years. Obviously, that's a lot longer than I've been living, but just to go to the same stadium that people 100 years ago were going to, the memories, the history.
When they redeveloped the seating in the old stand, I've got some of the old wooden chairs, the original wooden chairs and everything like this. It's history.
Selhurst Park has got so much character. There's been lots of talk over the seasons about Palace moving from here back up to the Nest. Well, actually the Nest was that way, but they also played at the Athletic Stadium for a while.
It's different, really. You know, it's a very old ground with a lot of history. But we always try and make the most of it.
It's one of those things where, it might be a what's it hole, okay, but it's our what's it hole.
It is, it's home.
Outside here and that as well, there's always a bit of back and forth between the fans, which is what I love. I just love the build up, the drama and the energy that it gives before a massive match.
The atmosphere, there ain't no another team there that can beat Palace for atmosphere with the Holmesdale fanatics and all the old school Palace. It's not just, the atmosphere was always there even before the HF. They've just taken it up to another level.
What's the atmosphere like when it's bouncing?
It's something that I've never experienced at any other stadium in the UK. I'm familiar that you'll probably find that sort of experience elsewhere in Europe, but it's one of those things that it is absolutely unique to Selhurst Park. I've done my Anfields, I've done Old Trafford, Arsenal, Chelsea, I've done them all, okay? But I still come back to the fact that this is such a unique stadium because it's so enclosed to the pitch, okay? And when it's bouncing, when it's rocking, it is probably the best football ground in the Premier League.
You can go to like rugby stadiums, you could go to Wembley, you could go to Old Trafford, but you're never going to get a better atmosphere here than Selhurst Park. I think when people step in here for the first time, they're immediately in shock, they're immediately stunned, and can't quite believe what they're seeing. With the drum from the HF.
Cristan Ball, we call it locally. And for those of you who are not aware of what Cristan Ball is, this is the night here at Selhurst Park where Palace drew 3-3 with Liverpool. Liverpool needed to win the game and hopefully by a few goals to secure the Premier League, and there were literally tears in the away end. But the atmosphere that night was just outstanding, something I've never experienced before.
With Crystal Palace cementing their place in the Premier League, the club faced a pivotal decision: how to modernise their cherished Selhurst Park whilst preserving its unique character and meeting top-flight standards.
And this is where we want to be as fans. Yet there are arguments, of course, for moving us up into the Purley Way in Croydon. There are arguments, positive arguments, that moving us up to Crystal Palace Park.
I'm kind of 50-50 with it. In my opinion, I think we could have moved from Selhurst Park, decades ago. But if that was the case, they would have done it.
Definitely right to develop rather than move. Of course, we're probably restricted in terms of the capacity, but there was lots of talk about could we go to the athletic centre. That was obviously a no-no.
I was totally against anything going up to Crystal Palace. I know if you can go back to originating Crystal Palace FC back to 1861 with the Glaziers and this and the other, and where the nickname comes from and the area. No, Selhurst is the home. Selhurst is the home.
We belong in the community, and the thought of being on the outskirts in a big field somewhere on in the M25, it just doesn't do anything for me.
That's the home section there, holding about 8,000 people. The new development starts and incorporates this corner, but to allow them to have this development over my right shoulder, they've had to compulsory purchase 6 properties from this area here.
Why it's taken so long, why it's potentially going to take almost a decade, I have no idea.
The development is only going to increase it by about 6,000 to 8,000. I know it'll trim the waiting list down for season tickets where people have got to think, but I don't really want to lose our identity of being this club in a well built up area.
Genuinely excited to hopefully within my lifetime to see this stand looking modern.
Will it add to atmosphere? I don't know, because I think there's going to be a bit more prawn sandwich brigade in there.
3/4 of the stadium will stay as it is. In fact, if anything, on the 3 sides of the stadium that aren't actually being developed, there are going to be massive improvements to the match day going experiences for those fans.
I suppose the downsides is that one of the things that concerns a lot of us is that this development needs funding. Now we've got an exceptionally capable chairman in Steve Parish, who's done a fantastic job since he's been here. But of course, one of the downsides for us as fans is that will this development be funded by selling some of our superstars?
But how will the ripples of change be felt beyond the turnstiles in South London?
Part of the new development process, however, is a huge benefit to the local community.
We're quite a big employer here. The new development is going to create more jobs.
There's more red and blue around the area, more people are proud to wear the shirt and that.
It's not a club, it's a family. Yeah, we are a family.
And this whole road is alive, and there is never, ever any problems, and there's never any trouble here.
And just being able to create history every time you come here is just amazing.
You look at the Zaha painting on the side of the house just behind us. You got one of my cousin, Maxi Jasler, RP to him, and that his legacy lives on within Crystal Palace and that as well.
The redevelopment of Selhurst Park may well be a turning point, but it's the spirit of the Crystal Palace faithful, resilient, proud and ever hopeful, that will ultimately shape its destiny.
To me, we're actually now on the cusp of something really, really special.
You don't care if you have the biggest stand in the world and all this and the other, it's the supporters. It's all about the supporters of the club, and we expect the best out of the team. They don't always perform to me, but it's exciting now.
It's all about us trying to compete really with them kind of teams and just grow the club really, within the fan base, and just get the revenue up and that.
With a bit of luck and the wind sailing in the right direction, we're going to be pushing for a European place this season.
We've got extreme confidence in Oliver Glasner, Dougie Freeman, who does a lot of the scouting.
They're not ogres, because as you say, something up in iron word, family.
I know it's going to take 3 years to build. I know they're not actually starting to rip down the old stand for about another 18 months, but I will still be here, and I can't wait other football fans from other clubs to show you this is what we can do here at Little Crystal Palace Football Club.
Selhurst Park's always going to be my home, our home, and it's just always going to be part of the legacy of Crystal Palace Football Club.